Back in 2021, I made this video about trademarks that were available to Stellantis. So I figure a year later, I would take a look and see what Stellantis have been up to and hopefully get some hints about what's to come. But what if I told you that some of the trademarks confirm some engines coming to Ram, some names that were abandoned, some vehicles that be coming back, and some more software locks to the Dodge Charger Daytona. With over 600 trademarks Stellantis has filed over the years, I'm not going to go over all of them, but just skim through some ones that I find interesting over the last year. So let's get started with this trademark for the Ram 1500 REV. Initially, I thought this was going to be the trademark for Ram's hybrid truck, instead of using that REPB name they debuted back in EV Day in 2021.
A new solution, which is going to break the paradigm. We call it REPB for Range Electric Paradigm Breaker. And we consider it as a unique selling point, which will make the difference versus competition. So we have decided to keep it confidential today.
The REV makes sense because you can spell range extended vehicle with those acronyms, which would be perfect for a hybrid. But if you look at a Ram Revolution concept truck, you see REV badges on the hood and on the tailgate. This one looks like Jeep is going to trademark a bunch of merchandise related to all the EV stuff they're going to come out with. I remember watching them during the 4xe day when they were talking about freedom is electric. I just didn't think it was going to be a trademark for all the merchandise coming out afterwards. Now going back to Jeep, looks like they reapplied for the Liberty name. The Jeep Liberty was a compact unibody SUV made from 2002 all the way up to 2012. I find it interesting that they reapplied for the name back in November, and the fact that Liberty was a small compact SUV. With Ram wanting to bring a small compact truck back to the US and an EV midsize truck, could there be an SUV that would share the same architecture and be made at the same plant as one of those pickup trucks? Ralph Gillis said they would work on vehicles together and would share parts.
Now we're working on these vehicles together, which allows us to share some of the most costly components in a way never before done. So 8 vehicles are now being created that will come to market in the next 3 to 5 years. But that's just the beginning. Eventually, the Stella Large platform could actually touch all 14 of Stellantis' brands.
So could the Liberty be a full EV sharing parts with this mid-sized truck and ride on the Stella Large platform? And could one of these SUVs be a future Liberty? Having a truck and SUV made together will be a similar way that Ford does it with the Ford Bronco and the Ford Ranger being made on the same production line, one being an SUV and one being a pickup truck. I'm going to skip over the obvious trademarks. We already know about the Charger and Challenger Swingers. We already know about the Fratzonic. This blank one right here, just the logo of the Fratzonic. But the Tomahawk trademark has a few different ones available, but all the older ones seem like they were supposed to be used for a concept vehicle, but this latest one that was applied for last year can be used on a production vehicle. I hope Dodge can use this for maybe a Viper replacement and not Jeep stealing it like the Jeep Avenger EV. I was very interested in the Erupt trademark. Now if we go back to day 3 of Speed Week, I'll play this clip from Tim Kuniskis when he explains the Erupt system.
The new Erupt system. It is a multi-speed transmission with an electromechanical shifting experience that's pure Dodge. How unique? Yeah, that's also patented.
Now he said this is for a multi-speed transmission, but that's not exactly what the trademark says. The trademark says it is for shifting software for an electric powertrain. So it seems the Erupt system will probably just be a custom shifting software and not an actual transmission. The transmission could be coming from a third party, and I remember this slide right here. I'll do some more digging, but it'll be interesting if this transmission can beat a car like the Tesla Model S Plaid. Moving on to the next trademark, we have the powershot. Now this one is interesting because this explains how the new Dodge Hornet and the Charger Daytona concept will work. PowerShot is electrified powertrain software that provides on-demand access to the maximum electric output for on-road passenger automobiles. Let's listen to how Tim Kuniskis explains it.
And we added a segment-exclusive PowerShot push-to-pass system. PowerShot is an on-demand system that maxes out battery discharge and gives you an additional 25 horsepower and knocks a full second off the RT 0 to 60 time. Now, the lawyers will not let me tell you what I call it, but think about it for a second. We call it PowerShot. You push a button and you get power instantly. It's pretty cool tech, huh? We're also developing 9 power levels through direct connection. You're gonna have 9 total power levels on this car. And all of those power levels will come standard with our exclusive PowerShot push-to-pass system.
So this was how I was figuring Dodge would do their EVs. They'll create a software lock for the maximum power that a car can make and create an artificial launch mode only with enough horsepower and torque to beat their competitors in their segment. I'll cover this more in another video once the power level of the Banshee system is finally released. But this does confirm that PowerShot won't be available on the EV TRX since it says on-road passenger vehicles. It'll be interesting if Ram will call their version a different name. The next trademark is the R-Wing. Now the trademark says it is for airflow spoilers for vehicles. So this wording has me wondering if there will be multiple different versions of the R-Wing for, let's say, an ICE version of the Charger Daytona. I made this video going over the Easter eggs hinting that an engine could be going in the Charger Daytona. Or could the R-Wing make its way to a next-gen Challenger? Would there be a version that can go to the next-gen Durango? So how would the R-Wing play a role in the design for different vehicles under Dodge? And another question I have is that the R-Wing needs to have an explanation as what the R stands for. Because if you listen to Ralph Gillis, Tim Knisis told him that it is named after Ralph himself.
Now I have to ask, does R-Wing stand for something?
Tim claims he named it after me.
No way!
And then days later, Tim Knisis said in an interview that the R-Wing is named after Gary Romberg.
Really came up with the idea of the R-Wing, the Gary Romberg R-Wing, which was the guy who designed the nose cone on the original NASCAR.
Now Gary Romberg left NASA several months before the moon landing and designed the original Charger Daytona. So who is the R-Wing really named after? Just asking. Next up, we had the Fratzonic trademark and its claim as an electrified powertrain exhaust with tuning chambers. This trademark makes the Fratzonic exhaust sound more like it's related to an organ in a church than it is for an exhaust for an electric vehicle. I made a video going over Tim Knisis explaining how this system works right here.
Think of the first time you ever went into a cathedral and heard a pipe organ. Your brain saw the organ, it saw the pipes, and it heard the sound, and whether you knew it or not, your brain made the connection. That's what it is. It's the air coming out of those pipes, which is exactly what we did on this car. We created an algorithm that takes all the inputs of an ICE engine today, moves air through an actual speaker system, a box with chambers, plenums, pipes, and an exhaust outlet that comes out the back of the car. Air coming out the back of the car was important.
I'm going to skip down to the Jeepster trademark. Yeah, this is the one I'm like, why not use this for the EV that Jeep would make that is smaller than a Renegade? Instead, we learned during Jeep's 4xe day that they would use Dodge's Avenger trademark for it instead. Jeepster would have been a perfect name for that SUV, and Dodge could have used the Avenger trademark for a variety of different vehicles that they can introduce in the near future. Other than the CUDA trademark, I like the Avenger name to be used for the Charger Daytona, seeking revenge against the Tesla Model S Plaid, taking the Dodge Demon's crown on a drag strip. Or Avenger could be used on a Viper replacement, or maybe use it for a new mid-size SUV to take the missing spot of the Dodge Journey instead of giving it a Jeep. Just saying. If we look at the trademark for the Hurricane engine, it confirms they'll be used in cars, pickup trucks, and SUVs. The only American brand that sells cars is Dodge, so we are now confirmed that they will make cars that are carrying an ICE engine. We already knew about the Hurricane and the Wagoneer models, and now we have confirmation that this engine will be in fact coming to Ram trucks as well. And you can check out this video where I covered the Hemmings getting dropped out of Ram later this year. That's pretty much all the new interesting trademarks that Stellantis has done over the past year. I'm going to go over some canceled ones real quick that I found interesting. The first one is the Aspen trademark. Now the Aspen was basically a sister SUV to the Dodge Durango but for Chrysler. Chrysler is going EV only, and it's expected over the next few years that they will release electric SUVs. So it is interesting that Stellantis will get rid of one of their EV trademarks. For the next dead trademark, I'll lump together the Native American ones, the Dakota and the Apache. I've raised this concern in other videos that I believe Stellantis would do away with Native American trademarks from vehicles. Jeep claimed they worked it out using the Cherokee name, but auditors don't support that claim, and most likely Jeep won't change the Grand Cherokee name because it is a major seller. I covered that story in this video right here. But other than the Grand Cherokee and the Gladiator with the Mojave trim, I don't see Stellantis using any more Native American names. They let go of the Dakota trademark, so the midsize truck that come to Ram could be named something else, and I haven't seen anyone from Ram even mention the Dakota name. I speculated in my previous video that Ram could bring the Ram 1200 Mule to the US as a compact Ford Maverick competitor, and then that this truck that Stellantis showed during EV Day could be a new midsize EV truck that would be around the same size as the Ford Ranger. If the Ram 1200 comes to the US named the Ram 1200, what would this midsize EV be called? Ram has already gone to the direction of naming their dedicated Ram 1500 EV the Revolution. So will the midsize EV have a similar naming scheme and not follow a numbering convention? Ram, if you're listening and need a good name for a midsize EV, why not use the Night Runner trademark that you already have available? Ford uses the Ranger name for its midsize truck, so why not use the Night Runner trademark that sounds like an illegal jab against an authoritative name like the Ranger? The Apache trademark could have been used for a name of a vehicle, is also gone. Currently we know that the 6.4 Hemi goes by the codename Apache since 2014, but this trademark was filed in 2020 to be used to name a passenger vehicle, not just the name of an engine. I think since the Grand Cherokee and the Mojave trims being used on a current vehicle, they are safe for the time being. Dakota, Apache, and obviously the Comanche before it, you can make the argument that they were dropped so they won't piss off Native Americans. So I'm curious if Stellantis will allow Dodge to use the Tomahawk trademark. The Tomahawk I think would be a great alternative to using the Viper name, but with Stellantis avoiding using any new Native American inspired names, I don't think they'll let them use it anytime soon. But that's it for this video, guys. A look into the trademarks that Stellantis has added, gotten rid of, and some explanations to some things that we've seen come out from Dodge and Ram recently. Let me know in the comments what you guys think of some of these trademarks and what names you guys would like to see come back. Leave this video a like and subscribe to the channel if you found this video helpful. Grab some merch on your way out, and until the next time, I'm out.